Hello, and welcome to Mean Street News. Mean Street News is here to provide accurate news to help citizens affect change in their local government and beyond. Being nice is overrated. It is time to be real. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. The time to step up and step in is now. So please come join me, Katie, over on Mean Street News to discuss Ohio politics and beyond. I hope to see you there. Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to Mean Street News. This is Katie. If you're first time here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. I have a guest tonight, a very special guest. I need to use him for something, but this is Chris. Chris.
Hello, everybody.
And this is my husband of forever. Forever. Tonight we're going to be reading the Jennifer Battistelli's deposition, interview, affidavit, something, two of them. Before I get tomorrow, I'm going to be getting into the Tomlinson timeline. Oh, I gotta turn that down because it's bothering me. Tomorrow I'm going to be getting into the Tomlinson timeline. And before we do that, in order to give it enough context, I wanted to read you guys the two depositions from July 25th and September. I'll think of the date. Hold on. September, they don't say 14th, but 7th. September 7th of 2024. The first interview is with Captain Robert Vansant, attorney Ronald O'Brien, who is actually the special prosecutor in the J.D. Tomlinson trial. He was there at the interview that day, which I kind of find a little odd. And attorney Kenneth Lieux, who is Jennifer Battistelli's attorney, who offered to take on this case for free by his, good heart.
Maybe for free.
No, it is for free.
It was for free?
Anyways, he knows too much about this case.
There's all sorts of forms of payment.
Anyways, it's for free.
I know. You knew I'm not going to be appropriate. I'll try my best.
Somebody liked it. Jim Edwards. You're the worst. Anyways, so before I get into the Tomlinson timeline, I really want to read these. And I know sometimes it's boring reading transcripts, but you've already read some of them. What did you think?
I liked what you were doing the other day when we were reading them, but
making my...
Yeah.
Well, we're going to do that here and there. We're going to make it a little fun.
Should we reiterate that if we thought that this was serious, we would not?
Oh, okay. I should say that. J.D. Tomlinson and Jim Burge were charged with tampering with evidence. Not Jim Burge. Jim Burge was, tampering with evidence and intimidating a witness. J.D. was only charged with bribery because he offered $500 for her to go to a dinner one night. She claims that she was a victim of domestic violence, and that's what he said. Make a claim. If we thought in any way that she was an actual victim of domestic violence, we would not be making light of this. But this story is so ridiculous that there's...
It just... She needs help.
She needs help.
She needs Jesus. That's what I'm saying about she needs Jesus.
She needs Jesus. But we're going to just get into it here. We're going to start reading because tomorrow I'm going to go over the full timeline. Like I said, I made a binder for JD. I focus so much on the process before I get into it. I focus so much on the prosecutor's case here because of my radio investigation, my RICO for Lorain County. They tried to, I feel like, extort the prosecutor's office.
They totally tried to strong arm him.
Well, how about the video with his mom? And then when that didn't work, they went on to the crazy girlfriend.
And that's not going to work.
And we'll just see what goes on from there. But I find it really interesting. And, this deposition is going to prove that it was part of my RICO, because guess who they bring up here in July and September?
They bring up who?
Who would they bring up that's not in the prosecutor's office?
That's not in the prosecutor's?
That's part of my RICO who's been taking the most hits.
Well,
They bring up her. Actually, they bring up more than one person. They bring up Michelle, and then they bring up Commissioner Moore.
Really?
Yeah, and they ask if JD and Commissioner Moore have like met up, or if she knows anything about that, and because they were originally investigating Commissioner Moore and Commissioner Riddell. Then JD didn't do what they wanted him to do, and they started to investigate them. I've explained that to you,
yes,
a couple of times. But we're just gonna get into this because it's long, but it's gonna be fun. I feel like. All right. So, like I said, the first interview was on July that we're going to start here is Jennifer statement interview. That's what they called it. Jennifer Battistelli, July 25th, 2024. It was attorney Kenneth Lieux, who is representing her for free. He solicited Jennifer to take on this case. Captain Robert Vansant, attorney Ronald O'Brien, who is the special prosecutor that's representing the state, I guess is what you would say, the sheriff's office, against the prosecutor Tomlinson and his deputy chief of staff, Jim Burge, and attorney Kenny Lieux and Jennifer. So you're going to start right here.
All right. I'm going to be playing the part of Mr. Vansant. Should be fun. Do you want to lock that in, or I guess that we will start with just to lay the foundation? When and how did you meet JD?
I met him probably in 2000, so 2010, 11, 12, I don't know, a long time ago. It was through mutual friends.
And then was it just in casual conversation that you would see him out in social settings?
Yeah, then we became closer. Like, he would come over if he had like a party or something. We used to host parties and events at my house.
Okay. And what prompted, or at what point in time he was your attorney?
That's probably supposed to say, was he yours?
I mean, that's what it says. Spell check on that. That's what it says.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that and what prompted that, and how did that become that he was your attorney?
I was going through a divorce, and somewhere along the line, my ex-husband had heard he works at the Ford plant. And there was charges against me with the kids and the car and everything. So we got into a fight one morning, and I threw a fan. And then Chris, my ex-husband, calls the police, and I get arrested. And then JD came to save me. So,
do you remember what year that was?
That was 2019, I think.
So you say that JD comes to save you. Did he step in as your attorney, or was he appointed as your attorney?
So I am in jail because it's a holiday weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend. Chucked a fan at my husband's face. It doesn't say that. So he shows up at the jail. My kids call him, and, I tell him what happened. And he said that I will handle it. You can hire me, and you don't have to pay me. And then I was just telling Attorney Lieux this morning, that all of a sudden me and Chris make up, and I go to court and I get a disorderly conduct. And I said, no, JD, I'm not taking that. Like, I just threw a fan at his face. And he said, just take it, Jen, or else we have to go to trial. And so I ended up with a disorderly conduct on my record, even though it should have been an assault.
And he was your attorney representing you for that? While he was your attorney, was it still just a friendship, or did anything turn to where it was more than just a friendship between you two?
We were just friends. I'm going to pause you real quick. So Aaron Knapp, when you went on your video a couple weeks ago and you were like, I'm not trying to give you credit, but you were like, they were together from the beginning. No, they got together afterwards. So here we go.
Just friends? Okay. Was Chris aware that he was your attorney and just friends? Did it create more problems for you guys, or did he accuse you of messing around with JD or fooling around or anything?
No.
Nothing like that.
No.
So I guess fast forward then. We are in 2019. You start working for JD. When was that?
So I worked on his first campaign in 2016.
Okay.
I wasn't working for him. We were just campaigning.
Okay, so in 2016, just kind of helping him out.
Yes.
Did he not hire you?
No, it was just campaigning. No one gets hired. Now this is Mr. O'Brien. That was a campaign for what office? Prosecutor, and he lost. You gonna do Mr. O'Brien too?
So 2016 and he lost?
This is Mr. O'Brien again.
Okay, well, I knew that he elected in 20, and I did not know that he had a preserved campaign. Previous campaign.
Yes, then we went into the next campaign, and that was this one. Now we're back to Vansant.
So going into the next campaign, you just helped him?
Yes, I would organize his campaign meetings and organize them with Scotty.
So you had a business, right?
Yeah,
He did not hire you at all with that business?
No, I owned a clothing store.
So it had nothing to do with that?
No.
Okay. And then he runs for election the second time, wins. Who suggested that you start working for him?
Well, I did not even know that I wanted to work for him at that time because it was COVID, it was 2020, and I had to close the store. We were not even sure that he was going to win because of all the stuff that happened with COVID. And wait, if he didn't turn, okay. And I was getting a divorce, and I could probably come to work for you. So I had to kind of see what kind of jobs were going to be available and if it was going to pay me enough.
Yeah. So it was kind of like you just threw it out there and said that I could kind of come work for you. And then when did it come to fruition that he actually offered you a job and you started working for him?
Well, we found out that Tracy, and I don't know her last right now, and Anne Marie were going to be let go.
Are you talking Tracy
Graham? Yeah, and first Harry Williams was going to have my position, and he went to work for 911. Now I'm gonna pause you real quick. It's Harry Williamson that they're talking about. Harry Williamson was the 911, went to work for 911 at the county. He is the one that colluded with Michelle for that CCI contract. He was the one that met up with the vendor. He was like one of the initial guys on that. So, again, JD 911, the radio 911, the sheriff Vansant have issues with 911. They right here, they're starting to mesh together. Okay. And then that position became open, and I talked to Burge about it. And well, you can have this position.
Which was what?
That we would eliminate Tracy and Ann, and I would take both of their jobs basically.
Combined? What were their jobs? Do you remember?
They were community outreach, and one was something else. I'm not sure what they called it. I don't know what the names were.
And so they just combined the two. And that is what you took over as.
So she was hired. She got the job from Jim Burge, not JD Tomlinson, by the way. Just let's keep that in mind since she said JD hired. Yes. Now this is Mr. O'Brien.
And were you dating or seeing Mr. Tomlinson at that time?
No.
Vansant. So you came into the office day one with him.
Oh, sorry. We came in on a Saturday and we picked out our investigators. Yeah, we came in together.
How long after you started working for him that your friendship turned into more?
It was around like April, May,
Of 2019, 21.
21 May.
How did that evolve, if you don't mind?
But we just spent so much time, yeah.
So much time.
All day at work, go to the gym, and then eat, and we were together all of the time.
Okay. Was there a conversation between the two of you that you decided to be a couple, or was it kind of like something casual?
Thanks for leading questions. No, we were. And then we came into the office and then told Dan Petticourt that we were dating. And at first, Dan Petticourt said, "Oh, you guys can date. That is fine." Because her direct supervisor would have been Jim Burge.
Mm-hmm.
And then came back a couple months later and said, "No, you guys are not allowed to date." And it became a thing, basically.
When you say it became a thing,
Like back and forth, we were allowed to date and then not date. And then this time we were really like in it. We were basically inseparable.
you loved him?
Of course, sure, yeah.
Yeah. So how did that change in terms of dynamics in the office? And Petticourt comes out and says that you guys really shouldn't. Did you guys have to hide things, or?
I'm pretty much a private person as it is. So it was kind of like we were not hiding, but unless we were on vacation, we really did not do much. We were kind of like home buddies. So the relationship worked until it didn't.
Did you hear talks in the office about people knowing you were dating and people were like, it should not be happening like that, or, Sorry.
We were kind of like secluded from the office. I mean, we would hear things, but everyone knew that we were dating.
Yeah? When did it start to get really, really toxic and bad then?
Probably 2021 was good. So 22 maybe.
What happened? What changed?
The dynamics of the office changed. We had Nick working with us, Nick Calabrese. Which I wonder if he's related to that Calabrese we went to school with.
Squirrel.
Anyway, sorry.
Oh, I hit the button. Nothing happened, right? Shit, get that thing
I don't
away
think
from-
so.
Okay.
Here, I'll take it from you.
Okay.
Where was it? Oh, Calabrese. Where we went to
You were
school
right
with the
here.
Calabrese.
Yeah, you're getting
So
sidetracked.
he was like our friend, and that was just kind of like our buffer. And I just keep catching him like cheating. And not just with like one girl. It was like multiple women. And basically he changed.
Why do you think?
I guess that power got to him. And when I first started working there, I took over his bank accounts. She says this all the time. I got his clothes. I got his car. I co-signed for his car. I co-signed for credit cards. And I changed his whole life.
You said that he started cheating. How did that go about?
We used these iPads at our campaign and our fundraiser, and my daughters and such would sell Tomlinson shirts. So the way that they cash out were on the iPads, so we would go live on them. So we were all linked into JD's Facebook.
Okay.
So I picked up the iPad and logged into JD's and went to Messenger, and it was just like I was shocked.
Hurt?
Oh yeah.
Mr. O'Brien. This is Mr. O'Brien. Just with his iPad? It was his.
It was mine.
But you logged in because you had authority to his Facebook
We all
account.
did.
For campaign purposes?
Yes, that's how we would like tag stuff.
Mr. Vansant, do you think he would know?
Oh, he doesn't know.
I don't know why he would openly. You don't believe that he was aware that you had access to Messenger or things like that?
I did not tell him.
Okay. Did you ever confront him about it?
Well, I didn't tell him. I would just say, like, oh, I heard that you were with so and so. But I would find out through Messenger, and that would start the whole,
Yes.
yeah. And other women would tell me flat out, tell me.
Other woman, like, I don't want to put anybody out, but Mr. O'Brien, do you remember any of the names of them that would have said something to you?
I don't want to answer that.
So you, so you did a lot of posting on social media. Was reference that to the funeral fundraiser? Does that help?
The fundraiser is the reason why, like, I feel like it was funeral day. I felt like it was just over because my family and friends hosted this event and it was a huge event and they put in $30,000 to host it. And I invited all of my people who donate. And GD shows up with this girl that looks like a hooker. And they were all like, what is going on, Jen? What is going on? Well,
Go on.
well, it is it is the girl and she has 4 kids. And I have 4, soon 2. You have 4 kids. And they know that JD is not a dad. So like they're using this other girl. They're uncomfortable on who I say he is and who he is. And they were going to donate again. And it was just like, I know now that I wasn't mad about the girl. I was just mad because it wasn't something that we could celebrate. Because the next day when I came into work, he was like, why didn't you say hi to Katie? And I'm like, so we fought about that. And so it was us, just like a team. I raised him $50,000
Where was the fundraiser
at Parker.
And when you say Katie, is that Katie Jean?
Uh-huh.
Mr. Lieux. That was April of 2023.
Mr. Lieux. It's Lieux.
That was April of 2023.
Yes, who he lied to me about forever.
Mr. Vansant. You suspected or knew of her and he had been lying about it?
Yeah.
And you said that you asked him about her before?
Where am I at? Oh, it was ongoing. Yeah.
Was there ever a confrontation between you and Katie?
No, not until like this year.
This year, 2024?
Uh-huh.
Do you mind talking about that? Or
Judy would not leave me alone. One day he gets obsessive and he called me like 100 times. And he called me until 4:00 in the morning. And I could not sleep. And I woke up the next day and I went to Katie's house. And JD was pulling out. And I was like, don't. You've heard this part. I was like, don't.
I bet he was pulling out. He was trying to get his Sorry. That's usually the truth.
Okay, let me finish this.
Sorry. Oh, man.
I was like, don't. Leave me alone. This is where you want to be. Leave me alone. And she comes out and she's like, so this is really like, and I said that he will not leave me alone, even though I'm at your house.
So she wasn't even aware that JD was trying to contact you?
Yeah. And then somehow me and JD get back together and I catch him at her house like 3 days later. And it was just like, it was a whole back and forth thing.
Toxic.
Yes, it was pretty bad.
Mr. Brown, now...
Mr. O'Brien. You give me a break. Mr. O'Brien.
Now, that is this year in 2024.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Okay. And you left through the prosecutor's office in August of 2023.
Uh-huh.
And you continued to see him after that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Vansant.
I know that we are jumping around a lot, and it's hard to get all of this in one little bit.
I know.
And I applaud you for going through this again because you keep reliving this and hearing it over and over and over again. And I know it's hard. I know this will be the last time that you have to go through this in terms of timeline and stuff, because it's taxing. I know it is.
Uh-huh.
But we do appreciate it. Well, let's get back to you still working for JD now. It starts to get toxic. The relationship, and certainly changes dynamics in the office. And when does your relationship start to get really physical with him, where he is physical with you? Isn't that what they've been doing in their relationship?
I don't even know. So
they've been getting physical with each other. I'm sorry.
So you gotta speak a little soft in this. You're gonna kill your
I'm naturally
ears.
loud, everybody. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I am too. That's why I talk like this when I'm on here. It's not my real voice. I'm usually like.
So you're saying I should talk like you?
Yeah, do my customer service voice.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah. You like my voice. Anyways, so the fights would just get worse and worse at work, and we would argue, and Judge would come in to try to
come into his office.
Uh-huh.
You were in JD's office?
Uh-huh. Like a referee, I guess, between us.
Mr. Lieux, when you say judge, you mean
Jim Burge.
Vansant. Okay, Mr. Lieux. Just to be clear, Mr. Vansant. Yes, clear. Why were the arguments taking place in the office rather than at your house or his house? Would it just spill over, or was there not any time that you guys were not spending much time together anymore?
Well, I felt like he had a girlfriend call me. How do you feel like you have a girl, like the girlfriend called him? No, look at, she said, well, I felt like he had a girlfriend call me. So a girlfriend called her.
So some girl called her and she felt that it was a girlfriend because of all the women that he had rolling around him.
Then I would turn off my phone, but then I had to go to work in the morning, and then I would get to work. JD is furious about like turning off my phone. Basically, that it would be the Monday fight.
Okay, so it was bad enough, the relationship, to where you guys were not doing anything socially, but obviously you had to go to work because you were compelled to be there, and that is where it would spill over. The arguments and stuff would be there.
Yeah, and then I would forgive him like by like Wednesday, and then we would make up, get back together, and it was just like a cycle.
Where does his rage come from? Why does he have control over you? And he just has to have you in his life? And why would he get enraged and be so upset with you?
I think it's over. It's just, he's a control freak. I think a part of him knew, I handled his whole life. So if I were to leave, I did his banking, everything.
Okay.
So I think if he were to lose that, his life would fall apart.
Okay. I had asked about when it became physical, and you said that you would go to the office because throughout the weekend, you would shut everything down because he would just continue to bother you. And when you would show up at the office, the fights would start, at least the ongoing.
Uh-huh.
And was he physical in the office with you?
Uh-huh.
Can you explain or at least describe that? What he would do?
Like, mainly just kind of like, I was never like, I just couldn't leave the office, his office. I didn't just mainly grab me or put his hands over my mouth because I would yell back. This is the best.
What that woman just described. I don't want to say.
Why?
Sounds like what Michelle Hung might have went through. Sorry.
I apologize for my husband. Okay.
Infidelity in the office. It probably is covering your mouth so people don't hear you guys having fun. Sorry. Where are we?
Not like it's not true. Oh, we're done. Wait, hold on. Oh, we're the fire me. Remember?
Okay. Well, you are a strong-willed woman.
I am like fire me.
Yeah. Why not leave? Why not quit?
Well, I had a son that went to St. Ed's, so one of my paychecks paid St. Ed's, and the other paycheck paid for like gas and food. And I get child support and spousal support, but it covered my life, and it was like the perfect job. I had to pick up Chris in the beginning before he started driving and raise my son, and I was like, pretty much it was just JD and I because my friends got tired of our bullshit, and he became like my only person.
Did you feel stuck?
Well, yeah, I wanted things to go back to like 2021.
Yeah. So would it be safe to say that you felt compelled to do whatever you had to do to keep your job?
Yeah, if he's not happy, I begged him to switch me to a different department.
Yeah. To include or even go to the extent of keeping him happy. Still having that sexual relationship. Still having the relationship as though you felt that. You wanted to keep him happy. And you would do anything that he wanted you to do.
Yes, and I could handle JD. But when the investigators turned on me, it was a different story because I said now I have to work and fight with you and fight with your investigators.
Why did they turn on you?
Well, I know because Gary Longacre, they were kind of like in cahoots. Have Jen get mad at me and she will leave, and then Jen and JD will still orchestrate JD's life on the side. So,
Is this something that you are surmising or
surmising.
surmising or something that of that Gary, what's his name?
Longacre.
Longacre.
You're so dyslexic.
It's okay.
It's okay. Gary, Chris is a little dyslexic, so like really long. He sometimes flips the middle. Anyways, so don't think I'm like just correcting him. Gary told somebody that.
Do you know who that somebody was?
Told his wife, and his wife told another woman, and the other woman came and told me, which is hearsay. That's hearsay.
Not if it went down the gossip chain.
That's hearsay.
It was totally legit.
Legitimate.
Who was?
And it doesn't even make sense because even Rich was like, JD, Gary is messing with Jen. You need to put an end to it. This is crazy. And JD said that I am going to handle it. And I'm going to handle it. And Rich was like, why does he keep letting Gary do all of this shit to you and take control in his office? And then, come to find out, it was because Gary was trying to get rid of me for JD.
Maybe I am wrong. But wasn't there a time when Rich was your supervisor?
Well, that was the whole thing. They kept switching around as to who I was going to report to. Wait 1 second. So I want to just stop right here. I'm going to make a quick comment. Rich Resendez is the one that investigated the discrimination claim and found her guilty of lying about the discrimination claim. So I have a really hard time believing that Rich Resendez was like, Gary Longacre is wrong, even though he knows that she just lied about lied about this guy and basically said he discriminated against a woman that he never did. You know what I mean? So I think that's a little bit of bullshit on Jen's end. And then another thing was they kept switching who she reports to. The deputy chief of staff was Jim Burge, so that's who was in charge of that office. He was always in charge. And then the other one was Richard Zendes, who I just talked about, was part of the investigation. Both of them investigated. Both of them found her guilty. So go back to your question.
Who was aware of you having this physical, toxic relationship in the office and did not intercede or at least try to get involved in trying to help you Are you aware of anyone, if anyone knew this was going on?
I think everybody knew. I mean, we were loud.
Sure. And you said that Jim Burge would come in and referee. So he was obviously aware that either something physical was going on between the two of you, or at least there was something toxic enough to where it wasn't a conductive work environment.
Yeah.
And he did nothing to help you?
Well, he would try to help.
By what means?
Like, JD, come on, let's work through this. You know, you and Jen love each other. You know, I know now is Burge's tactics, because if I could handle JD, Burge could do whatever the hell that he was doing. So,
Mr. O'Brien, were you seeing anybody else during this whole time frame?
no, I was never allowed to talk to anybody. JD went through my phone.
Mr. Vansant, those were his orders. Speak to me without having a bitter term. It seems like he was trying to control you. JD was involving you.
Yeah, I had one of the police, Mike Walker, like my picture on Facebook, and we argued about it for 3 months.
But you could not control anything that he was doing.
Right.
Have you ever caught him with other women while you were supposed to be together?
In bed?
In general, whether you caught him with somebody or in a car someplace, conversing.
No, I would not catch him.
Aside from the office with things being physical, were you physical at home or anything?
Well, I could not catch him because it was interesting. When does he even have the time to cheat? Because I was with him like all of the time. And I did not understand where the woman would even but then I found out that he would like see them at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Like he never slept. Sex in the shade.
How did you find that out?
Messenger.
His Facebook account?
Uh-huh.
Mr. O'Brien. And you said it was more than one?
There were others.
Mr. O'Brien. More than one woman that he was seeing besides you?
Oh, it was like 10 at a time.
Mr. O'Brien. Okay, Mr. Finnan. What? So you ended up resigning? What led to that? Your resignation?
The whole thing started with Lisa Barrios. There was a position that was opening for a victim advocate. And I was like, she would be a great victim's advocate because she lost her son. And we were talking about it in the office. And at the time, Gary Longacre was kind of like a victim advocate. And he's like, no, he's got to go. I don't want her over here. I cannot stand Lisa, blah, blah, blah. And I called Petticourt in and I said, we need to hire within. She was the fucking community outreach coordinator. She didn't like she was HR. This chick was a community outreach coordinator. She was not HR. She had nothing to do with hiring people. Like Lisa, she is educated, and there is no reason why she cannot have this position. And Petticourt said that I stand behind her. She's a great employee. Gary fought it. Me and JD fought about it, and they even interviewed other people. Lisa gets the job, and Gary wants to hire her for less money. And I was like, hell no. And we fight about that because she has nothing to do with that. She's not HR. Then I find out that the victim advocates have their own offices and Lisa's desk. She is like, I'm not allowed. And she just said, I'm not allowed. So I told Petticourt that, and I'm like, Gary is flatly discriminating against Lisa Barrios. Petticourt tells Gary. So then me and JD are fighting about it. And I'm like, I was upset that they were treating Lisa that way. And Gary writes me up, and the judge has a reply for the write-up. And I did not know that any of this was going on, by the way. When you get a write-up, does your boss tell you, like, they're investigating you for a write-up, or they just bring you in, like, we found this?
They kind of bring you in and say, here's a write-up.
Yeah, they don't, like, hey, Jen, do we have your permission to write you up? Like, can we tell you about this? This chick was a community outreach coordinator. She's acting like she ran the fucking office. She did not. And so I go to Gary's office. Okay, so on. I did not know that any of this was going on, by the way. And I find out that Gary writes me up, and I go to Gary's office, and me and him get into an argument. And then I go to JD's office, and me and him are arguing about it. And then we get into a physical altercation.
In his office?
Uh-huh.
And so what happened? Can you describe what happened?
It was bad, kind of. He grabbed me and threw me on the couch. And then he's basically like, he was shaking. I hate you so much. I know. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah. He was shaking. Okay. Threw you on the couch. Yeah. He's shaking you. Yeah. Okay. That's I said my line. Okay.
Mr. O'Brien, and that was August 16th. I hate you. And that was August 16th of 2023. This is Jennifer. So I texted Judge, and what is he going to do? Throw me out the window next? I can't go back. It's too far. The whole thing is.
On that same day, you texted Judge Burge.
That was Mr. O'Brien. Uh-huh.
Mr. O'Brien. About the incident.
Uh-huh.
And in that, did you say that he physically attacked you?
I sent him a picture. Do you want me to tell you exactly what I said?
Mr. O'Brien, yeah.
I said, Judge, I am sorry. Because he sent a thing that he said that I was like in a tremendous sense of loss. And I said, sorry you feel that way. The job, and then inaudible. Me, my whole life. And now I don't see how I am going to live without him and my job. I had to leave. I had to get away from JD. We got into a physical fight Monday at my house, and now he put bruises on my arms. I need insurance. I need the money. I need my job in JD, and I just sent him pictures.
Mr. O'Brien. And what date is that?
August 17th.
Mr. O'Brien, August 17th. And I see some of the pictures. I think that Mr. Lieux pursuant to the subpoena by the state, and your attorney had given us some photos, which I just had here, which look like the same ones that you had on there.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Brent, are those the same that you gave on the subpoena?
Uh-huh.
They are.
It's not Mr. O'Brien, by the way. Uh-huh.
And that is on this. There is exhibit number, there is C-1 and C-2.
Uh-huh.
And those were your arms. And that was taken after the incident in Mr. Tomlinson's office.
Uh-huh.
And the text to the judge that you just referenced was, that was not the same day, and that was the day or two later?
I sent that on the date, the 16th. Did I send that on the 16th? Mr. Lieux, that you left. Jen, yeah.
Mr. Vansant, I think it was the 16th. Yeah. Oh, that's you.
That's what you wanted to say after that. Yeah, I sent it to the judge on the next day.
Mr. O'Brien. Okay, at least what I understand, you sent an email on August 16th. You were resigning, saying it was effective the day before, August 15th, Mr. Vansant. Going back, Mr. O'Brien, would you consider the incident in the office? I think that you said he pushed you on the couch, grabbed you by the arm, shook you. Would you consider that to have been an assault?
Yeah.
Vansant's probably like, yeah, what kind of assault? Sorry. Mr. O'Brien, you know what an assault is. Go on. Come on. We're just bad in the head right now because it's getting late.
Yes, no.
Yes, no. Well, she knows what one assault might be. She doesn't know what the legal word assault means.
Yes, no. Mr. O'Brien.
Okay. and at least on the EEO form, that there was an effort by the prosecutor's office to fight that becoming a release on a public records request. It's 2 pages that they were able to get, and we got that form, the state auditor, and I believe that came from Mr. Lieux as well on the subpoena form, or from them, on a subpoena from them, on page 2 of the EEO complaint. And this goes back to being signed by you on October 10th. Mr. O'Brien. Down there, that is your signature, isn't it?
Yes.
Mr. Vansant. In page 2, it says here, August 15th, they met Tomlinson with concerns and discussed how the office was reacting to your sincere discrimination complaint. And he yelled and grabbed you and shook you and leaving bruises. You left the office and resigned out of fear for your safety. That's a leading fucking question.
The whole thing is.
And you felt that constructively discharged. You felt that constructively discharged you for raising the concern about Lisa and also ending a sexual relationship with Tomlinson. Is that part of your inaudible complaint? That was all leading, by the way, Vansant. If you see this, you led the
he's
crap
watching.
out
We
of
know
that.
he's watching from the next thing. He's watching. Believe me. Remember the next interview?
I can't believe the lawyers were like, shut up.
Well, that's okay. Before I go on, that's my other question. She just says, yeah, by the way. That's my other question is her attorney doesn't tell her to shut the fuck up like ever.
Maybe
He
that's sick of
actually,
her.
listen, her attorney helps Vansant though.
I mean, well,
anyways, yeah.
Maybe they're buddies.
That's right. That's what I think. Yeah.
And all of that is true, right?
Yep.
You signed that back on October 10th. For your then attorney, Jack Moran. And along the line that I read in the Lorain newspaper that Mr. Tomlinson said that he did not sign this and you did not see this and that Mr. Moran somehow created this, that is not true, was it?
GD has this way of saying, like, for hours we would discuss this. Well, Jen, you don't actually write it. Did you write that? Did you get out a pen? Did you write that? And I said, no, I did not write it, JD. I did not have a piece of paper and a pen. Well, then he's like, well, like, you did not write it. Well, okay, I did not write it. And he's like, well, you did not write it. So when we would go for hours and hours of him trying to convince me that I did not write this thing, I did not write it.
She didn't write it.
Which about 7 times she said she didn't write it.
Mr. O'Brien, well, it's typewritten.
Yeah, I did not type it. I did not write it. I didn't. So she's fucked herself, yeah.
Mr. O'Brien. But you reviewed it before you signed it, and it was accurate.
Yes, but at work one time, there was a stack of papers that my secretary gave me, and I signed them. And he was like, you signed papers, Jen, and you did not read them before in the past. So you have a past of not reading what you write. And I said, okay, JD, that one time. So he would be like hours of the same narrative that he wanted the public to believe that I signed a blank document, which I had in the past.
O'Brien. But it wasn't this one. Yeah. We're just going to elaborate.
It wasn't that document. And no, I did not write that, but Vansant.
But you,
he freaking
Mr.
interrupted
Lieux, but Attorney Moran prepared that and his staff.
Right.
Mr. Lieux, based on things that you told him.
This is her attorney, by the way, questioning her now.
Oh, he cut her right off.
Oh, yeah.
So she could shut up.
Shut the fuck up. Right? STFU. JD came over and argued with me that you told me that you did not write that. And I'm like, well, I did not write it. She's like the 12 times she said I didn't write it.
I feel like she's telling him like duh. Like, I didn't write it. We were talking about this for hours.
Yeah, I just said you sexually harassed me, but I didn't write
I
it.
didn't write that. Though.
Yeah,
I didn't type it. I didn't have a pen or paper.
I did not hear Samar. I did not on a train.
She used her mind powers.
She willed it on the paper. Anyways, we're horrible people.
Yeah, we're not so bad.
There could be worse.
It could be worse.
And I'm like, well, I did not write it. And he said, well, you did sign a blank document before. And I'm like, okay, JD.
Vincent, at work, not at Morgan's office.
Moran,
sorry.
Right. But he would refer it back to the point where 3 hours later, fuck it, I wrote it. I don't know. Say whatever you want, JD.
Mr. O'Brien. But he was trying to get you to backtrack what was in this EEO complaint. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent, even to the extent and some of the stuff that Attorney Lieux gave us subsequent to the subpoena from the state auditor, there was an affidavit of Jennifer Battistelli in here that Jim Burge referenced on 2 occasions. You backed out or just didn't sign. Are you aware of that?
Okay. So then they had this where they wanted me to meet the judge because I have not physically seen Judge and they know that I love Judge. So JD would say, Jen, I just need you to meet Judge. I just need you to meet him and talk to him. And then he's going to have you sign something. And it's just saying that it wasn't between you and I. It was all about Gary because it was about Gary. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. So I never signed anything. That's a lie. She signed a piece of paper saying that she didn't say discrimination.
Well, not if there was no paper or pen.
But she did. You're an asshole. She did. She signed a document that says, like, I'm guilty of falsely accusing somebody of discrimination.
You never seen it?
I did. I put it up on the last episode.
That's my line.
Oh. No, they sent it. And this is her attorney.
Mr. Lieux. That was in February, the time before, right, Jen?
Yeah.
Mr. Lieux. It was after the settlement and after you resigned. Mr. Vansant. Right.
Mr. Lieux, when they were trying to get you to sign an affidavit.
Mr. Vansant. Is it hard for everybody to see? It is hard for everybody to see, but it's this one, correct?
Yeah.
Mr. Vansant. Okay. And that is the one that says affidavit of Jen Battistelli.
Sorry.
Where it talks about going into the EEOC complaint and the settlement had nothing to do with you being difficult.
I never seen this though. Where did this come from?
Mr. Vansant. This was in the
Mr. Lieux, no.
And that was in the stack with the auditor, Mr. O'Brien. Do you have handwritten? There was a handwritten here, Kenny. That was all with this.
Mr. Lieux, I'm not sure. Let me see.
You know what? You are right.
Mr. Lieux, that is handwritten. It was in the stuff with the auditor has that is handwritten notes.
Mr. O'Brien. Yeah, Mr. Vansant. This is it. Parts of the petition. So you are right.
Mr. Lieux, she has not seen that. Jen, can I see it?
Mr. Vansant. No.
Okay, no.
Mr. Bryan, this is it. What I was referring to. The 2-page dark copy of Jennifer Battistelli to James Burge. And it's about a page and a half handwritten.
Judge wrote that.
Mr. Vansant. That is the judge's handwriting.
Yes.
And that was presented to you to sign.
No.
She probably would have signed it. Or they wanted you to review this and they wanted to type it up in an affidavit. Is that what it says?
Yeah, he would write it up, all of our stuff, and then I would type it and sign it.
Okay. So this was presented to you by Mr. Burge?
Judge, yes.
At what point in time?
That was during the whole Gary thing.
back when you were still an employee, when he was investigating it,
Uh-huh.
and you did not sign this or type it up?
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't, tell us why you did not sign.
Because I was mad. And I was like, this is,
Mr. Bryan, it's not accurate.
yeah.
Okay. Mr. Vansant, we have one here.
Mr. Lieux, there was so many papers.
Mr. Vansant. Yeah, so many papers.
Mr. Lieux, Bob, what you just showed me, she has not seen that prepared affidavit.
Right.
Mr. Lieux, there are overtures and emails to Jen trying to get her to sign an affidavit.
Mr. Vansant, an affidavit, but that's not that.
Mr. Lieux, that is what they wanted her to sign, but she never did.
By Mr. Vansant. They never did, and it was prepared. Inaudible. Prepared it, and some talk of affidavit prepared by Wickens,
Herzer
and Panza
the law
in
firm.
February of 24. But you were aware that at least he was trying to get you to sign it?
Or sign something.
Something.
Yeah.
Is it that is fair. When you were talking about Lisa Barrios and the promotion, at this point, you and Gary Longacre had already had it out. There was bad blood between you already.
He knows a lot. Yeah, uh-huh.
Okay. And do you feel, in terms of the EEO complaint, that they are just using Longacre's escape mechanism to draw away the attention for being in your words, that you felt that you were assaulted in the office?
I think it was a huge combination. I was furious about Longacre, so I wanted my complaint to be about him as well. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. O'Brien. So it was a twofold complaint.
Yeah, and I did not want the stuff between me and JD public, so I was just going down this road, and well, it all became public anyways because, yeah.
So intentionally, you were okay making it look like it was an EEO complaint with Longacre because you wanted to keep it out of the public eye.
Yeah.
The actual relationship and
And that is why we signed the NDA, and then JD writes the article.
kind of turning it on you,
Yeah.
making you as the aggressor and turning it on you.
Well, the article makes it seem like that. Yeah.
And now down the road, he's making it seem like you are the person.
Yeah, because he cannot convince me. Now he's going to go the other route. He's against me.
Mr. O'Brien. So was it your feeling that the settlement was negotiated to address both an EEO retaliation complaint because of Lisa as well as JD's assault, even though it wasn't specifically mentioned? Does that sound right?
Mr. Lieux, say that again.
Mr. O'Brien. The money that was paid by the county, what did you understand that was for? For retaliation because of the complaint about Lisa, or was it also for the incident in JD's office on August 15th?
I think it was a combination for me leaving the prosecutor's office and everything that happened.
Mr. O'Brien. All right. And that would include the issue with Longacre as well as the issue with JD in the office?
Correct.
Mr. O'Brien. Okay. Now this next one's so you resigned. You resigned the office, and is the relationship done at that point? There is no contact between you two. Is he begging you to come back at any time?
For about, I left. I blocked him for about 2 weeks, maybe 3. And then I don't know how we ended up being back in contact, but we ended up being back in contact. Yeah.
Who pointed you in the direction of Jack Moran?
I got him from Brent Buckley, my attorney.
And that was simply to settle the EEO complaint that you already filed?
No.
Or did he file it?
No, I was going to go because Brent is my attorney and Elizabeth, who does that kind of work in his office. Well, Jen, I will send you to somebody else. It was not something that she handled. She was like, I have somebody for you. And that is how I got stuck with Jack Moran.
And you laid it out to Moran, beginning to end.
He knows it all.
You tell him everything?
He takes my phone, my laptop.
Mr. Lieux. He loaded her phone.
He downloaded.
You read that then.
Mr. Lieux, he downloaded her phone, laptop, and a couple of years of stuff, right? Uh-huh. This is Jen.
So to support the toxic
That's
relationship.
Vansant. Mr. Lieux, the toxic relationship, her feelings.
Vansant, inaudible.
I hate when they do that. Mr. Lieux, in the workplace.
Vansant, okay.
Mr. Lieux, recordings that she had.
Mr. Vansant. And then the talk started between Moran's office and JD's office in terms of the settlement.
Yes, he calls and he said that Petticord is talking, and then they reached. I'm not an attorney. They reached
An agreement.
Yeah, and he said, "Would you agree to this amount?" And I said, "Yeah, that sounds fair, and that would be the end of this year and my pay for the next year, and that would be my term with GD." So I felt the amount was fair.
There were some dates that were thrown out that it had like deadlines and it had to be done by a specific date. Who came up with the date? Was that something that you needed it done by, or was it Moran who kind of said, let's get it done by this office or by this date?
I mean, I wanted it done fast, and I would get Jack and say, like, come on, I wasn't working either. I did not get unemployment, like I said before. So I needed a resolution. I needed to move on. So, Mr. Lieux, is that reflected in the email?
Mr. Vansant, yes.
Mr. Lieux, where Moran tells Petticord needs to be done by October 17th. We are not waiting, or we're going to file charges. And that was the EOC charge, correct? Jen,
Mr. Vansant. So when he does determine the charge, that is the EEOC charge. Did you explore the venue or the avenue of criminal charges like assault or anything like that? Would that ever cross your mind?
I did not realize that JD and I were in such a toxic relationship.
Until you were out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Prior to the settlement being approved across the board, settled through the commissioners on
requisition.
What can you explain upon, or at least talk about, that you are aware of? Any agreements, or how did that work? I had information of a point in time where JD and Jim Burge go across the street and talk to Dave Moore.
Vansant found a way to bring up Dave.
Whatever conversations that they had, I don't know. And sometime JD reaches back out to you and said, it's done. We are good to go. Can you tell me anything about that?
He said, Jen, I have to talk about Michelle. Michelle hates JD. So to be Michelle, he's like, I got to get this going, and I got to tell the commissioners what is happening, what is going on, to get it settled. And at that time, me and JD were not fighting about it. We were just kind of like, I don't know, I can't explain it. And then he just said that.
Mr. Lieux, had the dollar amount been agreed to at this point? $100,000 amount?
I think that we agreed that was from the beginning.
Mr. Lieux, that happened pretty fast, the agreement.
Yes, because it would be my pay, basically. Because at first they wanted to leave me on payroll, and then they had all kinds of other things that they wanted to do. And I said, no, I'm not going to be left on payroll and come in. And they had all these kinds of different...
Mr. President, why do you think that he wanted it that way?
For the options on what they wanted to do.
Did you have an explanation for that?
Mr. Lieu, the first settlement agreement is crafted that way, correct? Jennifer, yes. Mr. Lieu, talking about keeping you on payroll and you come on a Saturday. Jennifer, yes. Mr. Lieu, and getting paid for so many weeks kind of thing. Jennifer, yeah. I said that I'm not doing that.
Mr. Vansant, did they have a conversation with you in person or over the phone?
Over the phone.
He calls you and tells you that he has to get it approved by the commissioners and stuff. And is there a conversation, a follow-up conversation about where he tells you it has been approved? Was that conversation where you at Anytime Fitness?
Maybe.
How would he even know that? Like, that doesn't even say.
How would he know?
He doesn't even talk about Anytime Fitness anywhere prior to this. He's creepy. Should I do I should do a creepier voice.
All right, come on. How do we know she's at Planet Fitness though? Like they
It's Anytime Fitness.
Anytime, whatever the fuck.
Because she's available anytime.
Where am I? Oh, maybe.
Is he there and you have a conversation there?
I don't know that answer.
Okay.
And we were also there.
Apparently there was a time that he met you there and you had to let him in the door and you guys were on the treadmill talking about it. Does that ring? Whoa. How does he know that?
She must have told him that.
Oh, yeah. Probably through their little wonderful
fuckapades. Anyways.
texting that they did.
Sexcapades.
Oh, my God. Sexting.
That's wait, remember this next conversation that we've never, ever met. I'm not in love with you. Anyways. Oh, this shit gets better, people. Where were we? Oh, we were on a treadmill so I don't know.
So it's hard.
It might be. Anyways, that's what he said. We could have. That is what we did. We worked out.
Okay.
That they worked.
And well,
like Michelle's
they're shaking and couch throwing and hand.
They just didn't have a room like Michelle and Harry.
So nobody hears.
They just need that soundproof, tent-proof room. They need that key.
Maybe they should have hooked up with Michelle.
You know, swinging.
Okay. And how about the time that you were on the treadmill yourself and the phone rings and it was JD and you were having a conversation with him, and I don't know if it was on speaker or not, but information that I got is that you were there on it and the phone rang and it was JD, and that is shortly after the amount was agreed upon. And I know it's hard now.
Yeah.
But back
then,
might
be hard now.
Can you pinpoint? If you don't know, you just don't know.
We talk all the time on the treadmill. I don't know.
Mr. Brett, going back to something that Mr. Lieu asked a minute ago, is it your understanding that from the very beginning, I want my salary for this year and next because that is JD's term?
Uh-huh.
Mr. O'Brien. And that comes out of the 100K.
Uh-huh.
Mr. O'Brien. And that is what I take to settle both of these or everything that I have a grievance about.
Yes, I think it ended up being 150 with insurance.
Mr. O'Brien, I see.
And it came down to 100. We cannot go over 100, so I said fine.
Mr. O'Brien, so in the terms of being negotiated, you started at 150 and then eventually it was at 100.
Gotta pry the truth out of this one.
And that was for the whole ball of wax.
Yes.
For whatever grievance.
Yes.
Mr. Bryant, that you had that included the discrimination kind of issue as well as the incident in JD's office. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Vansant.
Did JD ever have a conversation with you about how they were going to go about getting this approved through the commissioners?
I don't know.
Were you not part of that or anything?
No.
Oh, Vansant, you're fishing, bro. You're fishing bad. You're desperate.
He's trying to catch a date more.
I
This
mean, just trying to catch
is
somebody.
the third time that he circles back to the commissioners after she's told him
Oh
multiple
man,
times.
he's
No.
fishing.
Yeah.
He's fishing. And she says, "No, Mr. O'Brien, you raised the NDA's side of things, saying that we need to have an NDA in it.
They did. I mean, they were like,
Mr. O'Brien, they Petticore, they Burge, they JD.
yeah.
Mr. Vansant, did they explain why they wanted it?
Well, I wanted it too because I was like, this sounds great. I can talk. I can't talk. He cannot talk. It's perfect.
Mr. O'Brien, right,
That would be a perfect solution.
Mr. O'Brien, but they raised it first.
I don't know. I cannot answer.
Mr. O'Brien, okay, well, that is why I asked. Mr. Vansant. So you resigned and get the settlement, and the NDA is in place. And when does it start to get really, really bad after the one? He had come out and was trying to convince you, and then I say they, I am saying JD and Burge, and they are trying to convince you to retract everything and aside with them again. When does this start?
So JD and I really did not talk about the case. Like even when I was rereading all of the text, we really didn't talk about it. It got settled, and I remember saying in the text, "Oh, I got the check," or Rich brought the check over, or something like that, I think. But we never really. He wasn't angry about it at the time. And then the story came out about Jack, my attorney, and he said, "Jen, it's Jack. It's Jack's fault." And I am like, "What did Jack do? Why are you attacking Jack? Leave Jack alone." That started with the last year after the settlement. We never talked about it. By the way, it hasn't, yeah, last year after the settlement. Yeah. We have never talked about it. Mr. Lieux, I think when the Barilla lawsuit got filed, I think that was in December. Jennifer, up to that point, JD and I never, in the text message, "You deserve the money. Gary was wrong, blah, 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 blah."
Mr. Vincent. He says that Gary was wrong,
Yes.
but he promoted Gary and gave him more money.
Yeah. And then we would fight about that. And I'm like, "How are you going to promote Gary?" And I could tell you that Gary wanted my job and he got it.
The Barilla suit comes out, and that resurfaces things again. And he's now wanting to make it seem as though it was Moran who did it all, who did all of this, and trying to put it in your head that Moran is the one that did it, and Moran is who did it, and Moran is driving this bus, but it wasn't true.
No.
So did you feel as though JD and Jim Burge at some point in time was trying to talk to you, to coax you, to at least convince you into retracting things?
I think they were just trying to save their asses. They were just trying to find a way.
Did you feel as though it was getting to a point where it was kind of like harassment?
I just got
Leading.
leaving like a motherfucker. I just got tired of talking about it. Fighting about it.
But they kept going on and wanted you to change your.
Yeah.
Even to the extent that JD would come over to your house uninvited.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Brown, did you consider yourself broken up at that point in time?
Well, like I told Ken, we would break up every 3 days.
So Brian has an inaudible, and Mr. Vansant, but you were certainly not on terms like you used to be, but you were cordial.
It's hard. It's hard for me to explain because I come from such a traumatic childhood that not talking to JD was worse than the abuse, because at least the abuse I could handle him. I knew it was coming. Not speaking to him and blocking him triggered the abandonment part of me. So that felt worse. I would rather deal with the abuse. At least I know that. So I would take him back every time.
Mr. O'Brien, at what point do you think that you're done over with completely inaudible application a couple months ago?
Oh, that was her.
Oh,
Jen,
God.
inaudible application a couple months ago.
Mr. O'Brien, well, today, do you consider yourself...
Well, now because this is the longest that him and I have not spoken to each other.
Mr. O'Brien, when was that?
The end of May.
Mr. O'Brien, would you consider now that you are broken up?
Now we are broken up.
Mr. O'Brien, and you would say that you were broken up since the end of May then?
What was that?
You mentioned... Did she just have a squirrel moment?
No, I think just want to answer it.
You mentioned, Mr. O'Brien, you mentioned the end of May. Would that be the point, the end of May? Guys, hold on. You mentioned the end of May.
Stop yelling.
Sorry. Would that be the point, the end of May, since you have not talked to him? Would you consider you were broken up as of the end of May?
Yes.
So Brian's probably like, oh my God. Mr. Brian. But prior to that, were you still off again and on again?
The cycle of abuse, yeah.
Oh God. Miss Vansant.
You just said, oh God.
And like you said, that was just a cycle. And it's going to take some time. And he knows that he has you on a string. Would he use certain triggers to pull you back in?
Well, yeah. What would happen in the end, Katie Jean, because he would go from her to within hours, I would catch him and she would catch him, and we will get on the phone and I would be like it, because it became like this whole thing.
Okay. You mentioned Katie Jean. Was there a confrontation between the two of you at the gas station?
Uh-huh.
What gas station? Why does this guy know so much already? There hasn't even been a mention about a gas station. Look how specific he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's very specific on his
And
questions.
he know,
But
I didn't
it's
even
not
notice
specific
that.
like what question. Like look at every question he's asking. He's leading to an incident that
That he
isn't
knows
on
about.
here, that they haven't even discussed.
Yeah, but he apparently knows about it.
Oh,
It's like the treadmill.
Oh, because he's been texting her on the side.
Or
You know,
calling her.
I got two
Phones.
phones.
The other one bitch is one for the load. I got 2 phones. One for the chick,
Better
one
check
for
his
the
locker
load.
room at his job.
Betsy, you better get on that.
We got Sergeant so-and-so to
Got 2 phones.
destroy this if anything.
One for the bitches and one for the load.
Just joking. These are my...
These are our assumptions. We're the theory.
It's all an assumption.
It's all an assumption.
Where am I?
Except based on their statements.
There was conversation between you two at the gas station.
Uh-huh.
Can you tell us about that?
I was pumping gas and she pulled up and I don't know how the conversation started. And I was like, Katie, I never thought that you and JD was together. Him and I did everything together. I was like, we spent all the time together. We were on the same bank accounts and buy cars together. We redid our house together. And he's like my boyfriend. And he prances you around sometimes. You got 4 kids. He's never going to blow up a bouncy house and go to Disney and do these things with you. I am like, how?
He doesn't like kids,
No, he hates kids.
but you have kids.
But they're gone. They're older. I'm old. Sorry, you shouldn't say I'm old, but
Something that he doesn't have to worry about.
yeah.
Mr. Brett, what was her response to that?
She was like, I just don't know about you. I don't know that you were, he lied about you all the time. So she basically just lived in the same life that I did. It was just like reverse, basically.
Mr. Vansant, you said that the guys have the same bank account So your payroll and his payroll check would go into the same,
Well, not the same bank account.
but had access to it?
Right, right.
Mr. Bryan, when was the incident with Katie Jean that you just described?
This year.
Mr. Bryan, this year, okay. Mr. Vansant. And then you talked about this year having a confrontation confrontation going to her house. Was that a conversation captured on the doorbell?
Yeah, she did.
But you were never physical with her.
No, and I was telling him, like, basically, you're caught. You're done. Stay here. Stay at Katie's. You could stay at Katie's too.
You stated that you did not have any contact with him since May, whether it's in person or him trying to get a hold of you. Can you tell me, there was an incident where he was parked down the street in front of someone's home and parked behind houses and around your back door.
Uh-huh.
Was he uninvited at that time?
Uh-huh.
Were you scared?
Yeah, I mean, he used to come over, like, whenever he wanted.
Always at the back door?
Well, my bedroom is at the back door. It's a sliding glass porch, my back door.
That's why he kept coming back. The way he would come over uninvited, he used the regular front door just like a normal person.
Yeah, but when he came to the back door, my son wouldn't know.
So he would do that to avoid your son because your son is upset with him?
Yeah, my son hates him.
Because of him assaulting you in the past?
Or just the hell, like, yeah.
Okay. Let me pause this for a minute.
Thereupon, the tape stopped because they have to get their story straight.
You're fucking. We have to now do a attorney-client privilege conversation and stop this. Can you get it together, please? For the sake of all of our careers.
We're all going to be fired.
That sergeant definitely is. He's gone.
Captain,
whoever.
yeah.
The
He got a promotion
Van
after he went after the commissioners.
Oh my god! Yeah, he got a promotion.
He did. He was a sergeant, Vansant, and then he went after the commissioners, and he got promoted to captain.
Yeah, but they gave him the promotion so he could compensate for the loss he's about to get it. Because he's going to get... This whole thing is damning the private conversation.
Oh, it gets worse. The second one's worse than the first one. Well, how about the next one we're reading? It's worse than this one. That one goes into, like, I was never in love with you. Stay on record, bitch. Anyways.
Crazy, dude.
All right, now they're back on record. We're taking down with our little break.
Okay. We're back on the record here. So I think that we left off where JD would come over and visit and kind of pressure you into retracting or recanting, but he would sometimes come back to the back door because he did not want your son to know that he was there because your son was upset because of the toxic relationship in the past, everything that you have been through and everything that he put you through. Hold on. Holy cow. Was all of that leading? I mean, just ask her for her number, dude. Just...
You did. In January, he said, you help me, I help you, we'll help each other, you help other people, helping everybody.
Go on.
Anyways, well, GD was at the house one day, and I heard Christopher, so I went upstairs, and my son has a knife, and I'm like, oh God. And if he doesn't leave, he will stab him. And I'm like, I cannot, this can't happen. And I'm like, GD, you can never come to my house, and Christopher hates you. And if he tells his dad, it will just be this whole thing. It will just explode. So
does Big Chris know about your whole relationship with JD?
Well, he found out in the paper like everybody else.
How has that been?
It was bad because Chris and I dated when we were 16 and we were always very close even when we got divorced.
There's still a history.
No, he would like help me and he would come over and help me with the house, and now we are not even like, he's mad at me.
Does he feel betrayed? Is that why he is mad at you?
Well, not so because he talks. I feel bad for you because I know how private you are. So yeah, he's
Yeah.
like, you shouldn't have gotten involved with somebody like JD.
Okay. Just friend, let me ask you this. When you were hired, you were not seeing him, correct?
Correct.
So him giving you a job, so to speak, was not because of a personal relationship.
No.
Did you ever feel at any time that he did work, or that you did work there, that he either gave you a raise or gave you time off or let you come in late because you were dating him at that point in time?
No, it was actually the opposite. We got into a really big fight I found out another director of public relations of the county made twice as much as I did. I have a degree, and I was like, I need to get paid more. And he was like, I cannot give you $1 more because the people are going to find out that we are dating. Bullshit. She got raised and she got bonuses. And I went to Petticourt and the judge, and they were like, she deserves to get paid more. So no, he never wanted to give me any special.
So you actually think that he hurt you from the financial standpoint by seeing him?
I wanted my own office. Everyone else had an office, and I was the only one. And I was not allowed to have an office because I could not leave JD's site, and I can't even make friends at work.
Okay.
So no, I don't think that he gave me any special privileges.
There was an article in the newspaper. I wanted to say it was May 31st. That said
Very
something
specific
about
date.
a visiting judge who was appointed to assist the sheriffs in the investigation, and there were some texts between you and JD, I believe, that day. And then the next day, there are two of them here. These are marked as exhibits D1 and D2. Do those look familiar?
Are these of this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, if they looked familiar, why would she have to ask of the year? Right? He asked her, do these look familiar? She goes, oh, are these of this year? Well, if they look familiar, then she would know.
I don't know.
Yeah, exhibits.
She's just dumb.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. And at least on page D2 here at the top, there was a discussion.
Wait, is this his phone or my phone?
Oh my gosh, she doesn't even recognize it.
Well, her phone has a big black recording bar on the top of it, so she should recognize it.
Well, up here, this is yours, and this is yours.
Oh, this is his phone, Mr. Lieux. His phone with your name coming up, Jen, right?
Mr. Brian. And he is in black and appears to be in the dark, I think.
Yeah, that is true.
Mr. Brian. And these are texts between you and him?
Uh-huh.
Mr. Brian. And when he says up here about his life being over, be it prison, Jesus, what did you take that into content of your discussion with him? What was that about?
I put up a post on Facebook saying that any man that abuses women should go to prison, and he wanted me to take the post down.
Okay. Did it have anything to do with the newspaper article that day when a visiting judge had been appointed on the case?
This was about, like I said, about a post that I had wrote.
Does it have anything to do with the newspaper article?
I don't think so.
Okay. I am good. Thank you, Mr. Vansant. I don't have anything else, Mr. O'Brien. I cannot think of any other questions either. I guess the two final points that I wanted to make sure and reiterate, the EEOC complaint that we talked about earlier, that is all fictional. You signed it, or factional. You signed it, and it's under oath. And you don't retract anything that is in there, correct?
No, correct.
Mr. O'Brien. And at least from our ending discussion here, did you feel that over a period of time that JD and others in his office were attempting to get you to retract that part of the EEO complaint about the incident in his office?
Yes.
Specifically, JD Tomlinson and Jim Burge?
Yes.
And did you feel intimidated or harassed by their continued efforts?
Yes.
She doesn't know what it means. She doesn't even know what assault means. She knows what one kind of assault
She might know
means.
what assault
She knows what one. Those two are toxic, and that's why they were together. So she knows what. Sorry. Okay. Somewhere along the line, I think in that affidavit, you said that and that goes back to October, you said that you resigned because you had fear of your safety and security. Mr. Bryan. That was true then. Yeah. Which JD?
No. Yeah. Which JD was like, well, nobody is going to believe you because we got back together afterwards.
Mr. Bryan.
That's true.
Oh my God, they deserve each other. Was that your feeling either this year when you felt harassed and intimidated when they were trying to get you to withdraw your...
Yeah, well, what was he going to do? Throw me out the window next?
Mr. Bryan, well, I guess you probably have heard the words intimidation of a witness. You are obviously a witness in this. Did you feel as a witness their efforts were trying to intimidate you?
I think that he wanted me to believe that he was still in love with me, so I would side with him, yeah.
Mr. Bryan, okay. I cannot think of anything, Roberts, anything else that you want to put on? Mr. Vansant, I don't think so. Okay, well, I appreciate the time that you took to try to meet with us, and it wasn't a happy hour, an hour and a half, and keep revisiting the issues. That's her.
Where does this go from here now?
Mr. Vansant, I am going to stop. I'm going to stop the tape. Mr. O'Brien, it's 11:55. Mr. Vansant, yes, 11:55. All right.
That's the first one.
Yeah, we're gonna do the next one.
Yeah, we're gonna take a break real quick. I'm gonna end this live and we'll be back shortly. Okay, so you guys are gonna have to find us and meet us because if we do it all together, it's gonna be way too long. Nobody's gonna listen to it. So I'll be back here shortly, you guys.